from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Michael Maney begins now.
Good evening everyone. Tasmanians could be on the cusp of going to the polls for another early election after a dramatic day in state politics. Premier Jeremy Rockliff has demanded independent MPs Lara Alexander and John Tucker sign a new confidence and supply agreement threatening to dissolve Parliament if they don't. However, one of the pair is set to refuse his demands, slamming the Premier's conduct.
2 letters, 5 pages, 1 demand. Jeremy Rockliff laying down the gauntlet to former party colleagues turned independents, John Tucker and Lara Alexander, after recent threats over confidence and supply.
I don't want an election, I want certainty. I want certainty and stability for Tasmanians.
He told both their current deal is not providing the stability and certainty Tasmania needs, saying Parliament is becoming unworkable due to their support for opposition and Greens motions. He also criticised them for having a my way or the highway approach to every discussion. The Premier proposing a new deal, which would bind them closer to the government. Setting the return of Parliament in March as the deadline, Mr Rockliff told both an election is an option if they refuse.
Both Mr Tucker and Mrs Alexander have their position, I have mine, and we need to work through those positions constructively.
One of his targets giving him a firm response.
What he wants is 2 puppets, two lapdogs. I cannot sign the agreement with this particular line item in it.
Lara Alexander lashing the proposed deal, saying it would restrict them more than Liberal backbenchers.
The Liberal government allows actually a conscience vote. He's virtually even making it worse than it is currently for members.
The Bass MP claims both her and Mr Tucker have held their end of the bargain, also questioning the Premier's motives, saying they received the letter less than an hour after meeting with them.
He could have actually brought that letter forward. He could have been open and transparent.
TCCI CEO Michael Bailey wants the situation sorted out, saying stability is good for the economy. The Premier getting no sympathy from political opponents.
And he needs to demonstrate to Tasmanians that he's either got the balls to call a date and set it today, or take it full term.
It's been very difficult to understand a lot of his motivations over recent times.
While it pains to point out he doesn't want an early poll, the Premier's threats is at odds with months of denials from him and his ministers about jumping early. Despite turning up the heat, he also wants rational thinking.
Cooler and calm heads must prevail. We must ensure that we put Tasmania's interests first.
He's just created this situation himself, so he needs to come back and he needs to mend that particular fence.
Our reporter John Hunt joins us now from Parliament House. And John, one of the key players kept his voice out of the debate today.
Yes, Michael, Lyons MP John Tucker is in the sights of the Premier on this issue, but today he was nowhere to be seen. 7 Tasmania News was told Mr Tucker has received a letter from his former Liberal colleague, but he is going to take some time to consider his response before making any public comment. Meanwhile, discussion has begun what the House of Assembly could look like if an election is called. Political analyst Richard Hurst says the expansion from 25 to 35 seats would make attaining that much desired majority a very hard task for Labor and the Liberals.
A lower quota, we have to expect that there will be more independents and third parties vying for a place, and all of that is a solid recipe for probably having a non-majority outcome.
Now, it should be pointed out an election hasn't been called yet, but with the Premier and Mrs Alexander standing firm and Mr Tucker yet to talk, the next few days could be very interesting, Michael.
Yes, certainly will, John. John Hunt reporting there. Well, the operator of a jumping castle which killed 6 children at Hillcrest Primary School in 2021 will fight a charge pressed by the health and safety watchdog over the incident. Families of the children were present in Devonport Magistrates Court today as TasZorb pleaded not guilty.
In December 2021, a gust of wind flung a jumping castle full of children 10 metres in the air at Hillcrest Primary School, killing Jai Sheehan, Jalila Jane Marie Jones, Peter Dodd, Addison Stewart, Zane Mellor and Chase Harrison, injuring 3 others. The castle's operator, Rosemary Gamble, trading as TasZorb, walking from court this morning after pleading not guilty to failing to comply with a health and safety duty.
No comment. Can't comment, I'm sorry.
The Director of Public Prosecutions will allege the jumping castle was only pegged down at 4 of 8 anchoring points and the pegs were not at the angle recommended by the manufacturer. It will also claim workers didn't receive necessary training or supervision.
Have you got anything to say to the families?
It's expected to be a lengthy trial with a significant amount of evidence to be disclosed. An expert witness may be called by the defence as they fight the allegations. It was a brief but emotionally charged hearing. Following the not guilty plea, one of the parents approached Miss Gamble in the gallery, yelling profanities. The matter will return to Devonport Magistrates Court next month.
Do you regret what's happened?
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
A man's been arrested after an early morning altercation in Devonport. Police say the two people are known to each other and the other person received non-life-threatening injuries. Forbes Street remained closed for most of the morning. Tasmanians are being urged to prepare for more severe weather over the coming days after parts of the state were lashed by damaging winds. In Hobart, strong gusts tore the roof from the RACT building in Harrington Street this morning. Crews worked until midday to clear the scene. A high fire danger rating is also forecast over the weekend, with several bushfires already burning in the north and south, although there's currently no threat to the community. Kaya Wicks will have all the weather details later in the bulletin. Tas Racing has banned several harness trainers from its venues after the release of the long-awaited Murrahy report, exposing incidents of race fixing and animal abuse. On the list is leading trainer Ben Yole, who was due to compete in Launceston last night. Racing Minister Felix Ellis has welcomed the decision, stating the independent panel of stewards will continue hearings to determine broader sanctions and charges. The state opposition has called on the Rockcliffe government to urgently provide clarity around the future of a $120 million co-located hospital the Liberal government promised to build in Launceston under a memorandum of understanding with Calvary Healthcare in 2021. Labor claims the project's future is under a cloud.
This is putting jobs at risk, putting at risk health services across the north of the state, and really is a broken promise from the Liberal government.
For this project not to go ahead, it would be incredibly disappointing and a real concern for our region.
The Rockcliffe government says it's continuing to work to support a co-located private hospital at the LGH, with works underway to demolish the existing buildings. Tasmanians can now fly to the Sunshine Coast for the weekend, thanks to new direct flights out of Launceston. Low-cost carrier Bonza announced the new route today, with introductory one-way flights going for as little as $49 one way.
Feeling a little cold in Tasmania? No problem. You can now escape the chill with a direct flight straight to the Sunshine Coast to warm up. From March 29th, Bonza will begin the new route, which will operate twice weekly on Monday and Friday, allowing travellers to enjoy a 4-day long weekend.
The Sunshine Coast is a growing business region, so there's a lot of economic growth there. And of course, northern Tasmania business growth is well documented as growing very strongly at the moment. The state is in very good shape economically.
It's the low-cost airline's 12th route from its home base at Sunshine Coast Airport, and the second route from Launceston Airport, with direct Gold Coast flights previously introduced, providing a boost to the northern Tasmania economy. Tourism operators welcoming the initiative, saying it will boost visitors to the Apple Isle, resulting in more cash being splashed in the state.
Well, interestingly, the research shows us that they actually love coming to Tasmania in general in winter because of the seasonality that Tasmania offers. So they like our mulled wine, our open fires, the opportunity to see a bit of snow and experience a true winter.
Those flying in and out of Launceston Airport today equally enthusiastic about the new route.
Saves, going to Brisbane and then changing flights and that. No, I definitely would do that. Yep.
So you'll book a flight?
Absolutely, as soon as I can. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, 2.5 hours. Yeah, direct flight, fantastic.
Bonza is presently offering travellers the chance to snap up 200,000 seats at $49 one way. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania is preparing to host some of the state's best triathletes, taking on the Ironman 70.3 this weekend. Attracting hundreds of competitors, members of the public are being warned of extensive road closures.
Prepping the city for its second Ironman triathlon.
We've got athletes coming in from all states and territories around Australia. We've got over 20 countries being represented as well.
Nearly 800 people registered to tackle 113 kilometres of swimming, biking and running.
I don't know if fun is the word that I would use ever for these races. It's maybe like a type 2 fun. I enjoy the challenge and I really love to test myself and find out what's possible for my body and mind.
Kicking off just before 6:30 Sunday morning, the pro men are expected to finish in around 3.5 hours.
As long as it's quicker than anyone else, I guess that's the time that I'd like to cross the line.
The women stopping watches 15 minutes later.
From then on in, it's just a steady flow of athletes crossing the line all the way through to about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Local cafes opening doors early to fuel the masses.
Particularly on a weekend, it's hard to get a coffee early enough, so we thought we might do something like that just to do a bit for the community since they've been behind us since we've been open.
A list of businesses offering discounts to competitors and spectators is available on the Hello Hobart website. Some sweet relief to ease the pain of road closures spanning from Hobart to Glenorchy. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
The first day of Festivale is underway with a packed schedule full of performances and plenty of food to try. Melinda Ogden is there at Launceston City Park.
Crowds are building here, Michael, for the opening night of Festivale at City Park. Organisers are expecting about 28,000 visitors to the event, designed to showcase Tasmania's best food and beverages. Originally established in 1988 as a multicultural street party, Festivale has evolved into an iconic Tasmanian event, drawing people from all over the state and from interstate who have the opportunity to celebrate the best Tasmania has to offer. It's also been a draw card for some of the country's most celebrated musicians, with Bachelor Girl and Icehouse hitting the stage tonight. Michael, road traders and Vanessa Amorosi will entertain the crowd tomorrow night, with Diesel playing on Sunday night.
Melinda Ogden there. The profits from the sale of an iconic red Kombi parked atop a Tasmanian surf shop for 27 years have gone to a good cause. Red Herring handing over $1,000 to Lifeline to continue its positive work toward suicide prevention. The hotline answering 300 calls a day.
It costs a fair bit of investment in training really great humans because they're all volunteers. So it will add up, every drop in the bucket is so important.
And while the Kombi hasn't been forgotten, remembered through a mural in Red Herring's new Elizabeth Street store.
The Jackies can breathe a little easier tonight, buying themselves some reprieve on the congested NBL ladder with a win over the Taipans. But last night's outing in Cairns wasn't without drama. Will Magnay leaving the court injured, his coach fearing the 2-metre-tall centre is being targeted. Down like a sack of potatoes.
It doesn't look good. No, this doesn't look good. I'm right up in the ribcage.
Tasmania's gentle giant, Will Magnay, coming off second best after copping an elbow from the Taipan skipper, limping off court.
He's as tough as they come, and he'll bounce back. I don't believe he'll probably be out at all. I think it's more of just a shot to the stomach and the sternum, and just the wind knocked out of him. It'll probably be quite sore.
Scott Roth is seeing a pattern.
Had a few discussions over the last few weeks, especially with Magnay and his presence of rolling down the lane, and some people kind of targeting him a little bit. Some of that stuff needs to be cleaned up, but I'm sure the league will handle it.
Luckily, the Jackies already had the game in hand. Jordan Crawford leading scoring with 25 points and 6 3-pointers. Captain Clint Steidel shooting with 100% accuracy. It was an important game for Tasmania and they made it count.
It's always good when you can get a road win, especially in this league. You know, everybody's fighting for something.
There's still no guarantee of finals, but a win over Adelaide at My State Bank Arena will shore things up.
You know, we're sitting in a delicate spot, but the good news is we get to go home, have a couple of days of recovery, and we're back at it on Sunday.
Hobart basketballer Alana Smith is switching allegiances in the WNBA. She's been poached by the Minnesota Lynx after a season with the Chicago Sky. The Lynx citing her impressive 2-point percentage as the reason for their interest. After more than a year of uncertainty, the Hobart Tigers will roar back into the SFL this season. The league greenlighting their return, fielding 2 teams in the competition. A player and coaching exodus almost pushed them to extinction last year before eventually pulling together a reserves team. While admitting there's still work to be done on and off the field, both the league and club say things are moving in the right direction.
In working with the Hobart Football Club, they are showing all the signs of a club who is working extraordinarily hard to put their best foot forward.
Things are really tracking in a positive direction, and we're really pleased that we can satisfy the SFL that is the case and that the players are starting to get behind us.
They're expecting to have about 50 players signed on. Western United's women's team has joined their male colleagues in Hobart ahead of an electric doubleheader. Currently second on the ladder, they'll be going for a club best 3 wins in a row when they play the Mariners at North Hobart Oval tomorrow afternoon.
They're strong, they're fast. It's hard to beat a team that never wants to give up, and that's what they're doing this entire season. So for us, it's a little bit of how I think we play, and I think it'll be a great clash.
Our focus is always on ourselves, and we think that we've got some of our structures well placed and our principles to take on any team in the league.
The men's side play Sydney FC straight afterwards. Aussie Mark Polmans has been knocked out of the Burnie International by Japan's Yasutaka Uchiyama. He'll face Alex Bolt in the semi-final after a hard-fought win over Hiroki Moroya. Japan will have a player in both semis after Luke Saville was beaten by Shintaro Imai in straight sets. He'll play Aussie Omar Jasika for a spot in the final.
Good evening. It was windy across most of Tasmania today, especially over the Central Plateau and elevated areas. Hobart 20, Launceston 24, Devonport 22, Burnie 21. 25 recorded at St Helens, the state's top. Friendly Beaches 22, Flinders Island 21, King Island and Low Head both 20, Mariah Island and Bushy Park 19. 18 the top for Grove and Strawn, Luncheon Hill 16. Only just double digits in Laiweni today with 12 degrees. Patchy low cloud is seen over the west and south, clear and sunny skies elsewhere, although a little high cloud is visible across the state. We can see a tropical low over Queensland and the Northern Territory border near the Gulf of Carpentaria. Scattered storms are seen over the remainder of the tropics. Tomorrow a high will move over coastal New South Wales and a cold front approaches Tasmania. West to northwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots and 20 to 30 knots about the south and central west. Similar conditions across inland lakes. Southwesterly spells building to 4.5 metres. A gale warning has been issued between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point tomorrow. There is a strong wind warning for the central west coast and also between east of Flinders Island to Wineglass Bay and for the southwest lakes, Bank Strait and Franklin Sound. Not a bad forecast for Hobart and Oatlands tomorrow. 27 fine and sunny conditions expected there. A shower or 2 for Maydena 21. Sunny also for the north, Launceston 25, Devonport 23, Laiweni 21. Fine also in Burnie 23. Showers increasing for Strawn 21, a possible shower for Marrawar with 20 degrees. Perfect conditions in the east, St Helens 26, Swansea 28, Orford 29 degrees. Forecast for Sunday, showers about the west and south and mostly fine elsewhere. Monday, showers contracting to the east during the afternoon, west to southwesterly winds hanging around with an afternoon sea breeze about coastal areas. Tuesday, showers in the east extending statewide during the day, likely to ease in the evening. Looking now to mainland conditions for Saturday. Plenty of sunshine on the way for Adelaide 33, sunny also in Melbourne 31. Becoming windy in Perth also 31, Sydney cloudy, 27's the top there, possible showers and storms for Darwin. They're chasing 33 degrees. And currently in Hobart, it's partly cloudy, 17 degrees, a lovely 21 degrees and sunny for the first night of Festivale in Launceston. Devonport sunny also with 19. Another working week done and dusted. Michael, I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night.
Yes, Kai, we'll soldier on again. Thank you for that. So that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.